10 years after the hot mic night, we went back to the exact same apartment where it all began. The building had been sold, renovated, turned into Airbnbs. I found the original unit listed for a weekend in June, booked it under a fake name so nobody would recognize us. Caleb thought I was insane until I showed him the listing photos. Same hardwood floors, same half wall between the kitchen and living room, same window where I stood holding beer bottles while my world ended. We drove up on a Friday night with all 5 kids strapped in the minivan. Yes, we own a minivan now. Caleb still calls it the dad taxi and pretends to hate it. Rory is 10. The twins Everett and Hudson are 6. And surprise miracle babies number 4 and 5, Sage and River, Irish twins, now 4 and 3, were arguing over goldfish in the 3rd row. Luna the 2nd, because the original Golden Girl lived to 15, drooled on the center console. We checked in at sunset. The apartment looked smaller than I remembered, but the bones were identical. Rory ran straight to the kitchen window and yelled, "Mom, this is where you heard the bad words, right?" Kids these days know the entire legend before they can spell their last name. That night we let the kids camp on air mattresses in the living room with pizza and a Disney movie, while Caleb and I slipped out to the balcony. Same view of the city lights. Same summer breeze. He wrapped his arms around me from behind and rested his chin on my head. 10 years ago tonight, I was in that kitchen crying over beer bottles, he said. Tonight, I'm holding the woman who turned out to be my whole life. Funny how that works. I turned in his arms and kissed him slow. We still kiss like teenagers when the kids aren't looking. Then I reached into my hoodie pocket and pulled out the tiny flash drive I'd been carrying for months. "What's that?" he asked. "Proof that I'm still extra," I said. I plugged it into the laptop we brought. A video started playing. It was every single viral clip stitched together in order. The hot mic audio with the red circle around the apartment. The Northern Lights proposal. Susan's toast, the gender reveal planes. Jake holding Rory the day she was born. The People magazine cover. Rory calling. Jake Dada, the final doc. Photo from last year, but the last 30 seconds were new. Footage I'd secretly collected for a year. The screen cut to Jake sitting in his living room holding a letter. He looked straight at the camera and started reading. "Hey, Rory, by the time you watch this, you'll, be 10 and probably rolling your eyes at how dramatic your mom and I are. 10 years ago, I did the worst thing I've ever done. I hurt your mom in a way I'll never forgive myself for. But because of that night, you exist. Your dad, my cousin Caleb, likes to say the hot mic didn't ruin a family. It rebuilt one. He's right. But I want you to know the part I never say out loud. You and your brothers and sisters healed me more than I ever healed myself. Every time you call me Uncle Jake, every time you run to me for piggyback rides, every time you fall asleep on my chest at movie night, you remind me that people can change. That love can win even when it looks impossible. So thank you for letting me be part of your village. Thank you for calling me Dada that one time and accidentally giving me the best scar on my heart. I will spend the rest of my life trying to deserve the title Uncle. I love you bigger than the sky, little star. Always will. Uncle Jake." The video ended. Caleb was openly crying. I was openly crying. Even the kids who had snuck onto the balcony to spy were sniffling. Then Caleb dropped to one knee right there on the same balcony where Jake once stood drunk and clueless 10 years earlier. He pulled out the original engagement ring from Iceland, the one I thought I'd lost on a hike 2 years ago. I had it resized and added 10 tiny diamonds. "One for every year you've made me the luckiest man alive," he said, voice cracking. "Marry me again, Lauren. Not because we have to. Because I still choose you every single day and I want the whole world to know it." I said yes before he finished the sentence for the second time in my life. The kids screamed and tackled us. Luna barked. Somewhere downstairs, a neighbor yelled, "Shut up," and we all laughed until we couldn't breathe. The next morning, we hosted a surprise vow renewal brunch on the rooftop of the building. Mia officiated. Susan cried through her entire mother of the groom speech again. Jake was Caleb's best man. Jessica was my matron of honor. Rory held the rings in a tiny dinosaur pouch and announced, "I do. Forever." When Mia asked who gives this woman, the twins threw flower petals like confetti cannons. Sage and River ate more cake than should be legal. We played the Jake letter video on a big projector for the whole family. There wasn't a dry eye on the entire roof. Even the caterers were crying into the mimosas. That night after the kids passed out in the Airbnb, Caleb and I stood in the exact kitchen spot where I once dropped the ice bag a decade ago. He opened the fridge, pulled out the same cheap beer we drank that night in 2015, and handed me one. To the worst night of our lives, I said, holding mine up. That became the best thing that ever happened to us, he finished. We clinked bottles and drank. Later, I posted one final update, the one everyone had been begging for since the People cover. A carousel of 10 photos. 1, me holding the broken bag of ice in 2015, tears in my eyes. 2, Caleb on one knee under the northern lights. 3, wedding day. 4, Rory's birth. 5, the dock toast. 6, the People cover. 7, Rory calling Jake. Dada. 8, twins in the NICU. 9, Jake reading the letter. 10, Caleb proposing again on the balcony yesterday. Kids tackling us in the background. 10 years ago tonight, I stood in this kitchen and heard the man. I loved to say I was temporary. Tonight, I stood in the same spot while the man I love asked me to stay forever again. Turns out the hot mic didn't end my story. It started the right one. And the plot twist? Everybody won. Even the mic. The post broke Instagram. 42 million likes in a week. The top comment with 3 million likes is still from Jake. I used to be the villain. Now I get to be the uncle who cries at dinosaur birthday parties. Thank you for letting me stay in the story. And the very last comment, the one that sits at the bottom of 6 million others, is from Caleb. To the woman who turned my cousin's worst moment into my best life. Thank you for choosing me when you didn't have to. I'll choose you for the next 10,000 nights too.